All right, so here we are with another episode of Less Kevin, More Tech with Kevin. Wait a minute, where is he? Steve. We got an upgrade this week.
Yeah, you got me.
We've got an upgrade. Steve Burch. How you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing good.
Good. So one of the great things about our podcast is we get to highlight some of our fantastic partners and our clients. And today we have a very exciting partner with us. And why don't you do the introduction and tell us a little bit how you guys met and all the fun things that David does for us.
Yeah, great story. David at Pegasus Entertainment here, founder. Met actually through a neighbor that does the Pure Michigan campaign. I said, look, the guy I got for this job is not working out. I need somebody rock solid. And you've been doing commercials.
What was the type of job you were? You don't have to name the client.
We're putting together a podcast studio and a media room for a local college. And I was disappointed again with the current vendor, so reached out to a professional that lived in my neighborhood, and I said, I need somebody. I need him now. He goes, I got the guy for you. He owns Pegasus Entertainment. He's right down the street in Southfield there at 8th and Lasher. And it just took off from there. I introduced him to the client, and they said, wow, this is more like what we're looking for.
Fantastic.
So it's done really well so far.
Yeah. So who's he and what's he the company and so on?
So, David, you may want to jump in here, but Pegasus Entertainment, does an awful lot of work. They rent a lot of equipment for staging purposes and that for companies, and they build out podcast studios. But he's got a great story, great background, been in the Detroit marketplace for a long, long time. So
I get the phone call from Steve, and then Steve, because we had a partner we were working with, and there were some challenges there. And so Steve calls me and he's like, you got to meet this guy. He had just met with you. He's in the car and he's like, man, we got dynamite here. The stories, the history, the whole, your whole career has been built around this whole entertainment industry, basically. And so I could feel him jumping out of his skin through the phone. He was so excited to meet you, David. So I want to hear from you. The David story, so to speak.
Well, I have to give you the condensed version.
Condensed version is probably better than, but let's hear it.
So I've been in this market for about 42 years now. When I was very young, I got involved with some people that bought into a theater. And the theater was the Grand Circus Theater downtown Detroit, which is now currently the Detroit Opera House. And we started in 1981 with concerts. We opened with Ray Charles, did a string of concerts, everybody from the B-52s, The Clash, Bon Jovi, U2, The Eurythmics, just a tremendous amount of production.
Like the Who's list.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun over the years. And
I was earlier. I was a client of yours.
You were there for George Thorogood or Rick Springfield, one of the two. But we did a lot of concerts and shows, and at the same time, I opened my audiovisual company, Pegasus Entertainment, which at the time was Pegasus Lighting. And we've been on 8 Mile Road in Southfield for almost 42 years now.
Nobody stays in business that long.
It's been a fun business. People always ask me, some of my stories, and you ask me to talk about them. One of the favorite ones is people say, "So what are your clients like?" And I say, "Oh, my clients, like presidents, billionaires, rock stars."
Yeah,
I said, well, let me tell you what my clients are like. And they sit there like on the edge of their seat. I said, "They're like your neighbors."
Yeah.
And I said, "My neighbors?" I said, "Yeah, some of the people are the biggest jerks in the world, and other ones are the nicest people you ever meet." And that's true. Dealing with, we do political work, so I've dealt with every president since Ronald Reagan on both sides.
Yeah.
And there's some very nice people in politics, and there's some people that have their head in the clouds.
Yeah.
Same goes through with entertainment, and everybody from U2 on down met him personally.
So David, when you guys started, how it sounds like, I think you're being a little bit humble here, because you don't have like a bunch of guys getting together and say, hey, let's go,
So I started at an early age working. I was 12 years old. I don't need allowance. I got a job. And at 16, with a friend of mine, we started a little DJ business. And after that, I worked for a company that did audiovisual. And many years later, the owners of that company were working for me.
Can we back up for just a second?
Sure.
A DJ business.
Yes.
So are we talking, what decade are we talking here?
We're talking late 70s.
So were you one of those guys that
No, as a matter of fact, my friend did the audio and I did the lighting, and we went from there.
All right, so cool. All right.
And it's interesting. In this business, people talk tech, and most of the people want to be so technical that you're too dumb to understand and try to wow them with their words and this and that.
Acronyms.
And I found out that many years later, I was the audiovisual advisor for the Dole for President campaign, and I was working with Elizabeth Dole, which was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Around the country, I was the audiovisual advisor. And at the time, if you asked me, what do I know about lighting and sound, I'd say I'm good 90% on lighting and 40% on sound. What I didn't realize is people that are in the business knew less.
Yeah,
And
wow.
it doesn't matter if you had 80 cabinets or, and doing big concerts. They just didn't understand the difference between microphones or power or wireless frequencies. They just didn't have a knowledge. And now it's very easy to fact check people because Siri or Google, and you can really spot the BS quick. But in this business, there's an old saying, I used to do sound for Bob Seger. That's everybody in this industry that's ever loaded a case up a ramp at 3:30 in the morning. So, we get that a lot, but it's been a fun ride.
Yeah. Sounds like most of your education's come through actual real-world experience.
It really has.
Yeah.
I like to say I went to the School of Hard Knocks, the accelerated course. And it hasn't all been easy.
Right.
There's been a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of financial bumps as well as political bumps. You learn as you're going on.
I guess entrepreneurship, 40 years of it, you're going to see it.
You really do.
Yeah.
And speaking to people, when I speak in front of a college, I tell them, look, I just want to teach you lessons of life and how to not handicap yourself, how to be able to look at people, how to be able to talk. And, when Steve called me up and we had the chance to build this big studio for a college, it's a teaching studio.
Yeah.
You're going to use it as a studio, but it's also a teaching. So you teach the kids not only how to talk on a microphone, and what I mean on that, the best example is talking right now.
Right.
The person talks like this because they're nervous. They don't understand that I can talk like this and sound like I'm a radio star. And the inflection, if they're telling you a story, that's one of the lessons. If I'm telling you a story about my daughter and I say, my daughter, she is wonderful. Now, let me tell you about her. And I go back and forth. It's more interesting. And we have 650 houses of worship that are customers of ours. And I teach every pastor the same thing.
Yeah.
I tell them, look, you have to have a, sound, lighting, video, HVAC, a comfortable seat. Only then will they be willing to listen to what you have to say. And this is true in life. If you want to tell somebody, I want to be your financial planner, for example, and you show up in a rumpled suit and you look like a bum, you are handicapping yourself. Yeah. And the same thing in business. And that's why Steve and I hit it off, because I think we both enjoy what we're doing.
Right.
Versus most of the people in the audiovisual business are commission salespeople in our business. If they can jam $5,000 down your throat that you don't need, they're drinking with their buddies in Royal Oak this weekend with $500 in their pocket. And we have a more long-term view. Our view is to do well for our customer, and at the same time, we're here to make money and have fun.
So. Yeah. But that's...
I told them Kevin's mantra, right? I don't want transactions.
Yeah,
I want a relationship with this company,
right?
Because only then can we really build something of value. Otherwise, you're just a dollar for a dollar type of thing. It gets boring really quick.
Well, it gets boring, but what the key phrase that you brought in is doesn't build the value, right? And so with value comes new ideas, new opportunities.
Yeah. We're willing to listen to each other and chop it up a little bit, and you don't end up where you started.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to talk to people.
Yeah.
Right.
So through the 4 decades of business, right? You've seen and heard, you've had the ups and downs,
Yes.
but I think the endearing philosophy that you're exhibiting here, that philosophy is probably what carried you through.
I think so.
Yeah.
Nobody taught me this.
Mm-hmm.
I learned, we were talking about podcasts. We're doing a podcast right now. I had a psychiatrist friend of mine one day say, "Hey, David, I'm going to send you some podcasts to look at." I'm an ADHD guy.
Okay.
And must have been 2 weeks later, and she called, "So did you learn anything?" They were TED Talks, and they were wonderful. And I said, "No, not really." She goes, What do you mean, no, not really?" I said, "I learned them myself over 40 years.
Yeah, right.
I wish to God somebody would have told me that ADHD is not a weight. It can be a big advantage."
Yeah.
And I thought it was, a big problem. And no, some of the most creative people in the world are like that. When you realize that when you can't sleep at night, you're thinking of 3 or 4 things at one time and you can't sleep. I'm thinking of 5 things during a normal moment.
Right.
Now, I'm thinking of 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
When I can't sleep, I'm thinking about 20 things.
Right, yeah.
Right.
But that little lesson was learned on a podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? That's why it makes a difference. If we are talking right now and somebody listening to this podcast gets 1 point,
That's right.
that's it.
Right.
Right there.
Right.
So, Dave, one of the things that excites me about partnering with your organization, though, everybody, it's not a secret, the world is rapidly evolving. It's rapidly changing. And, at one point in time, people got their news, via print. I mean, at one point in time, it was only, through discussion, right? And then Gutenberg changed that, right? So and then the radio came along, and then television. But as everything moves more and more towards this digital transformation, video and audio now are going to take more precedence in communication, and we see that with our clients in every business, especially post-COVID. Because the internet and what have you. But so it excites me because that is going to indicate the need to understand acoustics, to understand the lighting, and that's what we appreciate. Do you are you seeing it the same way I am, or what do you see? I guess peering around the corner,
I do. I grew up in the 70s, and I remember you had a radio and you had a TV. We joke about it.
How many channels on your TV?
We had 4, maybe 5 if you grab the rabbit ears.
Right.
And if you were up at 11 o'clock at night, most of the TVs were off.
Yeah.
Now, not only can you get information, you can get it, a variety of it. So if you have a question, or I liked your podcast, I can watch it at 11 o'clock at night after I got done with whatever I'm doing. And I can, if I really like it, I can listen to 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. So you can consume on your own.
On your own terms and what I want to consume. So if you're doing something on city council, the next one I can say, I'm not interested. I passed that one, but I want to get back to his podcast about building wooden boats. That's what I'm interested in. And some of the general podcasts, once somebody likes you, it's like an author, they're going to listen to the rest of your stuff and give it a try. And they might find that, your podcast on gardening is really what, gardening for dummies is really, what is interesting to them because they've never been able to do it.
Yeah. Wow. So,
You got to give us a good story from all those people you met through.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Tell us a good story, and then
good story.
Then we'll wrap it up.
All right. Let me a good story. I remember years ago working. I was working for the Republican National Commission
Okay.
Committee, and I was in Philadelphia, and
The city of brotherly love.
yes, brotherly love. And we were doing town hall meetings. Okay. So town hall meetings, everybody said, I want it Oprah style, which that's sort of like people saying, I want it Art Deco. They think, and their Art Deco is very limited and people use it in a broad term. What they wanted, we created a live program with two-sided, and the 5 people would come out, and then the audience would ask them questions. And I remember a couple of things about this meeting, and I think we had Rick Santorum was there, and President Burch, and he was running. Actually, he wasn't president yet; he was still governor, I believe, at the time,
Texas.
and was running. Yeah. And he said, how's it going out there? Because I go out to look at the crowd, and I say, okay, everybody, here's how it's going to go. They're going to ask you questions. The first question's a softball question. The press is listening to this. It's so everybody can see how it works. Have respect. If you disagree with the people, no problem. Just do it with respect. And everybody listens. Okay. So then I go back into the green room space, and the holding area, and I say the same thing to them. This is what I did, and this is this, and this was back before we'd have a monitor there. Yeah. And I said, okay, it's time to mic up, and we have to mic up. And Governor Burch at the time, I said, okay, here's the microphone. It's a lavalier microphone, and we can put it either on your belt or in this little pocket here on your. And Governor looks down and said, what is that pocket for anyways? That little teeny pocket in your suit. And he looks at Santorum, and Santorum didn't know. And one of the Secret Service agents that was there, and he had already signed a Secret Service protection, goes, I don't know. And the other guy goes, I think it's for business cards. And he looked at me and said, if I need business cards, I'm not doing very well. So, it was funny. There's some fun stories. And I think that's a pocket watch.
Yeah, exactly.
But we didn't know that back then because pocket watches are, like typewriters.
He had a I thought, a very down-home kind of sense of humor. When he was president.
He got me a few times.
Yeah.
But working with him and working with a lot of the politics was fun. Yeah. Working with the music stars is fun when they're out of their element. So when they're out of their element and they are, I might have a phone buzzing in my ear. There we go. When they are out of their element, they behave differently. So when a rock star is there, it's Joan Jett or the Beach Boys, one of the political people, you can tell them, hey, what to do. Mm-hmm. And they listen. Yeah. Where normally they have their egos and they're telling you what to do. So it's fun. Yeah. But there's a lot of fun stories over the years. A lot of wonderful people, a lot of great times.
So, David, I think we're going to have the opportunity to share them over the coming years. And so we really appreciate you helping us and helping our clients and working with us. And I'm looking forward to it. I know Steve is. Yeah. Steve's excited. So we usually wrap up with a toast of bourbon, and we didn't have our bourbon today. So what's your
water?
Do you have a favorite bourbon?
I don't have a favorite bourbon.
Do you have a favorite spirit?
Not really. I'm not a huge drinker. Yeah. I'm a wine drinker, but I.
So give us your favorite wine.
Favorite wine? I'm a Cabernet. Usually, I try to go to California. I try to support the.
So you like the full-bodied reds?
Full-bodied reds, yes.
Steve, you got a favorite?
Tequila all day.
With the worm in it? Or?
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of fun then. The three of us. David, look forward to. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.